Okay. Maybe.
One day back in 5th grade, I was sitting in science class daydreaming about Batman because, 10-year-olds. When all of a sudden I hear the teacher say, the Earth isn't flat. So I blurted out, well, duh, I fart on hills all the time. After a couple of giggles, she explained to me the theory, that the world is a sphere. And I just thought, wow, this lady is crazier than I thought. However, over the years, I've discovered that the Earth being a sphere is a widely accepted lie, and that people like me are referred to as flat earthers, and thought to be conspiracy crazed lunatics. But I'm here to show you, we aren't just all crazy people waving signs. Sorry, that's for later. And also show you that some of us do have legitimate reason to believe. So let's find out those reasons by first looking around the history of the flat Earth, before looking at the model of the flat Earth, and then finally, seeing the impact of this global lie. But first, let's start off with the history. The reason people initially believed the Earth was flat was because they used the empirical approach, a scientific method that relies on your senses. Someone in the olden days said, you know what, Johnny? The Earth feels flat, looks flat, smells flat, and tastes flat. So I'm pretty sure it's flat. And although this sounds ridiculous, scientists still use the empirical method to this very day. People use it in their everyday lives. You see this stage, and you know it's black because, well, it looks black. Our senses are a way of taking in information. And does that make sense? No, just me, okay. To tell us to doubt them. And the way that the flat Earth was disproven was also using the empirical approach. In 500 BCE, Pythagoras proposed that the Earth is a sphere. He observed that the moon is a sphere, and thus concluded the Earth must also be a sphere. At the time, and still to this day, people rightfully doubt Pythagoras. So what are we saying that he did? To understand this, we must look at the flat Earth model and address some questions. Modern day theories about the flat Earth explain that our planet is not a sphere, but a flat disk. The most common question is, why don't we fall at the edge? Columbia University reports that while the depiction of the spherical Earth has Antarctica at the bottom, the flat Earth map proposes that Antarctica actually sits around the edge of the Earth, creating a protective barrier. This cannot be disproven because according to a New York Times article, in 1985, 32 nations signed the Antarctic Treaty because it's too dangerous. But we have seen safety being overlooked by governments for convenience and novelty countless times. So why is Antarctica any different? Another common argument is that we have seen photos of a spherical Earth. But have we really? Robert Simmons, NASA's lead data visualizer, confessed in 2017 that there are no complete pictures of the Earth. See, supposedly, NASA has satellites orbiting around the Earth, but they can only see 3% of the Earth's surface at a time, meaning that all photos of the Earth are Photoshop composites, leading to inconsistencies like these. Here, you can see the placement of the continent shift, while here you can see weather patterns repeating exactly, just a couple of hundreds of miles apart. The last common question is why science does not back up the idea of the flat Earth. But trust me, it does. The Bedford Level experiment, conducted by inventor Samuel Burley Robotham, had Robotham take the old Bedford River, a straight 6-mile drainage, and had someone ride a boat to one end while he stood at the beginning. Now, according to NASA data stating that the Earth is a sphere with a 24,901 mile circumference, the boat should have been 11 feet below his eye level. Except he could still see it with his binoculars. The scientific evidence that disproves this is, wait for it, the air is so dense that the light curves, and thus we can see the curve without seeing the curve. Wait a minute. At this point, it becomes obvious that we've been spoon-fed a lie filled with overcomplicated terminology and pseudoscience to create a divide between what we see and what we believe. Which brings us to the last point. What is the impact of our government lying to us about the shape of our planet? See, the government discredits these realities by calling them conspiracy theories, false beliefs that major organizations are behind particular events, like George Bush and 9/11, or the US government and the moon landing. So why do these organizations lie? Ooh, this is gonna be bad. So I know I said I was going to talk about the impact of the government lying to us about the shape of our planet. But I have a confession. I've been lying. Not about any of this information, though. All of my evidence was true and is believed by the Flat Earth Society. But I don't believe the Earth is flat. I don't wear glasses. And this informative is not about the Flat Earth. It's about why some of you might believe it is after being exposed to specific information. So let's take a note from Miss Yellian and put this thing down, flip it, and reverse it by first looking at why we believe in conspiracy theories. And then looking at the effect that believing in conspiracy theories can have on us. But first, let's look at the psychology as to why we believe in conspiracy theories. British psychologist Karen Douglas theorizes in her article, Current Direction in Psychological Science. Now, we believe in conspiracy theories to fulfill three key desires. First is the desire of understanding and certainty. Psychologist Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive disequilibrium states that we seek answers and understanding when exposed to new information because it makes us uncomfortable. The Old Bedford River experiment is commonly believed to be accurate because people do not understand the science behind air density that disproves it. It's easier to comprehend that someone is lying to you than to understand how air density can affect our lines of sight. Second is a desire for control and security. As humans, we do not like the idea of not being in control over what is happening around us. That is why American historian Richard Hallstatter theorizes that we are more likely to believe in conspiracy theories when the opposite political party is in house. The distrust between political parties leads to anxiety, which comes from a sense of not being in control over our own nation, and that those who are won't act in our favor. Last is a desire of submitting it. Research shows that marginalized people are more likely to believe in conspiracy theories because they already feel outside of the community. Because they lack this feeling of belonging, these groups look for ways to connect with others and are thus more susceptible to conspiracy theories. But these theories can have detrimental effects on us. So now, let's look at how conspiracy theories affect us individually and as a community. Individual. Conspiracy theories are what Douglas refers to as self-defeating. When we believe in conspiracy theories, our sense of security drops because we are furthering a sense of distrust. This could lead to believing in more conspiracy theories. And although we may think of conspiracy theorists as tinfoil hat wearing lunatics, in the article Conspiracy Theories and the Paranoid Styles of American Politics, political scientists Eric Oliver and Thomas Roy report that 50% of Americans believe in at least one conspiracy theory, which leads to believing in multiple. This further leads into the conspiracy effect, a phenomenon discovered by Dr. Sander van der Linden. Try saying that 5 times fast. A social psychologist of Cambridge University. The conspiracy effect shows that once exposed to a conspiracy theory that they believe in, individuals become less social and less trustworthy, and are thus less likely to donate to charities or participate in community-based activities. Individuals experiencing the conspiracy effect are also more likely to be associated with the motivated rejection of science, which means they don't believe in scientifically backed data. For example, when actress Jenny McCarthy stated that she believed that there was a link between vaccinations and autism back in 2007, 94% of Americans were vaccinating their children. Now, fast forward 12 years and add some distrust. That number has now dropped to 75%, despite scientifically backed data stating that vaccination and autism have no link, leading to the first outbreak of measles in the US since 1992. These effects are and can have serious effects on us individually and socially. In the end, conspiracy theories do have some merit. We should never just believe what we are told, but instead ask questions. And the truth is, some of them may turn out to be true. Like Chuck E. Cheese definitely makes new slices out of leftover pizzas.
What?
But on the other hand, some of them may turn out to be false. Like the idea of the flat Earth. The important thing is, with such rampant misinformation being spread every day, it is important to inform yourself and not just believe your own experiences. Be well-rounded, or your ideas will fall flat. Thank you.